Welcome back to Get Your Man On. Dan Green back with us, the Finish Strong Bootmaster. Dan, you're a father of two
Yep.
young ladies.
Mm-hmm.
How old are they?
26 and 23.
26 and 23. How about, finishing strong? You've gotten that. We just were talking about how last week you took them on one of them on a cross country journey, moving them to Arizona. Talking about how Finish Strong relates to fatherhood and maybe some of your experience there.
Absolutely. I mean that during those years of Simple Truths and a couple other startups, I was running both ends of the candle pretty hot, and I'd come home at night. Just I've got two little girls, little, and they're 3 years apart, so 3 and 6 and 6 and 9, and I would come home and just crash, and wanted to disengage from the world, but with the Finish Strong mindset, I couldn't rob my girls at that time. For me, finishing strong on a consistent basis with my kids was sucking it up at the end of the night when they wanted their bedtime story. Sometimes you're just. It's like, I'm tired. I mean, can we skip the story tonight? Can we skip? But you're right. You're robbing them of that time. And so to finish strong, I had to just put all my feelings aside, suck it up, and I had to be present for them and read them their stories and not skip pages and not rush it. And it's I'm not gonna lie, that was a challenge. You tend to want to kind of lazy it out, but I'm happy to say that on the average, over time, I finish strong more often than not, which kind of leads to the whole idea of no regrets. And so I can look back and say, there were a few times I copped out, but on the average, I feel pretty good about the time that I gave my girls. It's not what happens to you that matters. It's how you choose to respond that does. Yeah. And, if you can just do a little better today than you did yesterday, you don't have to have giant leaps and bounds. You don't have to make monumental chunks and at achievement on a daily basis. You just got to do a little bit better today than you did yesterday, and you can improve the averages. And some days you'll slip back, but if you can just do a little bit better than the day before, over time you're going to see great success. One of you mentioned the grave. One of the
I don't like bringing it up.
I know the grave. Wow. But I think a quote that just is lynched in my brain, and it was so inspiring to me. I read this quote, and it was the quote says this, that the worst thing I can imagine is being on my deathbed wondering what if. That just creeps me out. It scares me. That can you imagine?
Oof.
I don't want that. I don't. I mean,
that's heavy, dude.
I know.
Like that is like, let's go.
But it's so like you use that, feed that, use that to inspire you to use your write your goals down and work towards them. But just don't be wondering what if on that deathbed. I'm gonna close my eyes and go, thank you, Lord, I finished strong.
Dan Green, author of Finish Strong. You can find it on simpletruth.com. There's probably some out there on Amazon as well. And there's some on Thomas Nelson as well, a little more faith-based there. Can you find that?
The Thomas Nelson version's on Amazon as well.
Yeah, it sold tens of thousands of copies. And
265,000 copies.
And gave a deal to Drew Brees for 90 of them.
That's right.
I don't know that I can forgive you for that. I just can't. I would be. That energy would be like, oh, it's Drew Brees. He wants to buy. Actually, I'm a Tom Brady fan. Which shoot, I know most of our stations are in the South. I'm sorry, everybody. I do love Tom Brady.
On that note,
anyway, I'm gonna pivot.
Off.
But actually, it was really. Did you see that when Tom Brady? It was like at the Dome with Drew Brees. He started throwing the football to Drew Brees' kids. Did you see that?
No.
It was a couple years ago. Like I think the year before he went to Tampa, and everyone thought it was the end, and it was just like them at the end of the game hanging out, and it was just Tom Brady throwing the ball to Drew Brees' kids. It's like, can you imagine those kids? I'm sure they know Tom Brady, but like for their dad, who is one of the all-time greats, Drew Brees, with Tom Brady, who I'd say is the all-time great, and they're just hanging out, like those beautiful moments those are what kids remember, and not just because it's Tom Brady and Drew Brees, but the fatherhood moment there.
That's right. That's right.
And my kids all the time, they bring up Dad, remember when we used to do this and that, and we remember when we would play this, we would always play football in the back, and it was like me and two of my boys who were really athletic, and I would be the quarterback, and there'd be a wide receiver, and then one of them would be the cornerback, and like I would always be like terrible. Like I'm not a quarterback, and they were like, remember Dad when you used to be terrible at quarterback, and we would just try to catch ball, and they all play football now, but they remember me. And I was like, I was not terrible at quarterback. That's not true. I was really good. You guys just were learning.
Yeah,
so
it's funny how we remember things differently. My kids have said things back to me. I'm like, wait a minute, it didn't happen like that.
Yeah.
That's not. No. It wasn't that way. I think the important thing is that there's a memory there that you make with the kids.
That's so good. That's so good. So we talked about finishing strong with our kids, but what happens if you don't finish strong? What are the consequences? Let's just talk about where you go, and maybe short term, because we're going to say that everyone that's listening, you're going to finish strong. Like you're going to hear this, and your life is going to change today. You're going to start making amazing choices in every area of your life. But what happens temporarily? Maybe what have you seen when guys kind of choose not to do that?
Well, I think you have to be willing to redefine your goals as you move through time. Finishing strong at the beginning of the day might look different at the end of the day. I started racing. I had some success selling software, and so I had this addiction to racing. And so I went to racing school, learned to drive open wheel race cars, and then raced in SCCA for a few years. And my very first race, Halloween, October 1993, in Kansas City, Missouri, or I'm sorry, St. Louis, Missouri. Finishing strong for me was to win the race, right? But 2 laps into the race, I spun and took myself out of the race.
Oh.
And I remembered I was sitting there in a mud puddle that I'd flopped into in the car, and I had it. All this happened in an instant, but it seemed like it took forever. And I said, what am I going to do now? Am I going to just kind of like putz back on the track and just kind of toot around for the rest of the time? Or I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get back on the track. I'm going to finish strong. I'm going to turn the fastest lap of the race. I'm resetting my goals. I'm not going to win the race. I'm going to turn the fastest lap of the race. And so I strapped the belts down, pulled the belts down tight, got back on the track, and just focused. And everything slowed down. I was hitting the corners, the apex, the shifting. Everything just slowed down. I started catching cars and passing cars. But I didn't care. I was just focused on turning the fastest lap. Going into the last turn of the race, I found myself in 3rd place.
What?
Yep. And going into the last turn of the last lap, the 2 leaders took themselves out.
Oh my gosh.
And I won the frickin' race.
Let's go.
But I redefined my goals, turned the fastest lap, and that ended up obviously turning into something different. But so, finishing strong is about assessing where you're at in life and being willing to reevaluate what it really means to finish strong.
Man, that is so good. And
that's in the book too. I wrote
what happens to most people? They would sit there in that mud puddle and compare themselves to where everyone else is at and be like, I don't have a chance.
That's right.
And that will steal your ability to finish strong every time.
You nailed it.
That's incredible.
We should write Finish Strong too.
Why don't you?
We could talk about that.
Let's do it. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Will you sell it to Tom Brady though?
Absolutely. I won't give him a deal though.
Okay, good. I love it. Talking with Dan Green. We're going to come back, talk a little bit more about HRT and advice for young men. Go to getyourmanon.com to book an appointment at a low T or ED specialty clinic near you. See a provider. Also, leave your messages on voicemail anonymous. Coming up, more Dan Green.